Hey Sean, have been watching your videos in a lot recently as I'm planning to buy a condo in Bangsar South for investment purpose. You can call me Mr. A. Hello Mr. A. It will be a new pre-launch beside Goodwood Residence by UOA called L'Oreal Residence. It has 2 towers. Each tower has 630 units in 2.1 acres, and the sizes are similar to Southlink Residence, ranging from 495 square feet to 900 square feet. Per floor, around 15 units, booked the smallest size at around 367 net price. Extra info, 23 years old, walao, damn young. Savings around 150,000, loan commitment 1.7, first home buyer. Salary unstable but annually will be near to 100,000. My question, should I consider buying this as an investment, as I'm afraid of too high competition, not just in this new launch, of also my competitions will be Southlink, KL Gateway Residence, all those. Currently I have a place to stay and I want to buy a place purely for investment purposes. Okay, so we go the whole question first, then I'll come back. Is this property too high dense? Number 3, besides this L'Oreal will be an empty piece of land, and sales assistant told me it will be a future mixed development there by the same development, but time frame is unknown. Should I wait for it? But I'm afraid of the price shooting up, as normally the later the phase, the pricier it is. But mixed development projects I feel will be more attractive to tenants since they can terrace go down and grab their food and do groceries rather than this current pre-launch condo that has to walk and it's beside to it. Number 4, is this location good enough for investment as it's not connected to any LRT stations if you compare to KL Gateway, Novum or Southlink? Number 5, am I really too rushed in buying this project in this age because I feel it fits me after seeing a lot of projects but just don't have that certainty in it? Investment objective is to have rental returns that covers 80% and above of installment. In a real dilemma right now, hope you can answer my question and give me your honest opinion. Okay, a lot of questions to this question. So this is about a young man, 23 years old, don't know why so rich, 150,000 in cash. Wow, I should be learning from you, bro. So the salary is unstable, but it's around 100,000. And with that, right, so for those who don't understand why the questions are so long, that really dictates the direction of the question and the answer as well. Because if you don't have any savings today, you are still figuring out what to do, then it's not a good idea to buy the property. But looking at him, at 23 years old, I can barely remember what I was doing. But he has a saving, he has a direction of investment, and that signifies the knowledge or the exposure for investment at his age, and it's incredible. So question number 1, should I buy this as a high investment? So there's something about Bangsar South that a lot of people are concerned of. It's just that monstrous that a lot of high density projects, right? We have reviewed some of this in the channel. It's going to be very, very high dense in the future. But if we think about it, right, why do developers still launch high density projects knowing that there will be so many already? It's because of the demand. And how do laymen like us determine the demand? We look at rental rates. That's the easiest, right? So to me, whether or not does this property make sense, I will look into the purchase price, which is like 376,000, I think. So your installment is going to be around 1076, around there, 1076, not including maintenance yet. And if you look into the rental price, as long as it's around that range, it's a good go. Then you need to think about whether is it fully furnished, partial furnished, or bare furnished. I think that there won't be any bare furnished anymore. But if you can do as a partial furnished or a full furnished, that will increase your competitiveness. So if you look into all units, or you think yourself as a tenant today, with a budget of 1,200, where can I get in Bangsar South? Because the main reason why a lot of people are there, because Touch and Go is there, even PropertyGuru corporate office is there, a lot more. So Baker Steelys is there, all these MNCs are there, like even Alibaba is there, TikTok HQ is there. Therefore, a lot of people are gushing into that direction. Something about Bangsar South as well. There's this new highway, Setia Wangsa SPE, Sentiap Wangsa Pantai Expressway. So it means from Wangsa Maju now, connecting to Duke, right, you can access to Bangsar South already. Not only that, MRT 3 is also coming to Bangsar South. That's why the hype is there, right? So for an investment purpose, I don't think it's that bad, right? So I will not make any comments there, but do research. You can just go to Property Guru portal, you look into Bangsar South rental, and around you find the average price, and then somewhat you can reverse calculate whether it will cover your installment in the future or not, right? Then when you talk about, is it too high dense? A proper metric would be units per acre for the total project, and the other one would be units per floor. So when you mention 15 units per floor, there are higher ones. We have reviewed before, higher ones. It's not that big of a problem because of the profile of tenants. Everyone are just there temporarily, maybe 2 to 3 years, because they are posted there for a work or posted there for a job. So they're not going to be there for very long, therefore the density can still be tolerable. But one true thing just now you mentioned, mixed development is better than pure residential. Yes, most of the time, rental point of view is it just makes more sense. But that is only applied on this investment-oriented location, especially for Bangsar South, KL Central, Mont Kiara, KLCC, right? Those hot spots. But if you're in a residential focus location, such as PJ, Shah Alam, Cheras also half-half, then it's a very different story. This is when people pay, or as they prefer better privacy, better security. They don't want so many people accessing their project. But if you want convenience, mixed development is the way to go lah. Okay. Then for future project, that one only they can decide. I cannot say much. And yeah, so at a young age, based on your profile, you know what you're doing because you didn't end up with 150,000 by luck. To me, I think it's okay lah. Like with your knowledge, right, with your research work being done, the amount of context you give me, I think you are in the game already mentally, right? You just have physically not yet lah, but then mentally it's there. Oh, I left out a part which is the LRT station. There's two concepts. One is to be connected to it, but it's only one project connected to it. The others all need to walk. So when you walk, you base on the distance. Also, it's 20 meters, 50 meters, 100 meters. Anything beyond 50 meters, it doesn't matter anymore. It's called transit adjacent development, not a transit-oriented development. TADs are just project close to LRT. But if you think about it, close is better than don't have law. So I think it's okay. But as I always teach, I always teach 20 projects before you actually pull your trigger. So I would suggest, if you are uncertain, just look around for more. You can always use Property Guru website. Yeah, did I miss out anything? No. Okay. So I think that's for question number 4 already. 3, 4. 4. Okay, 4. Okay, so we will answer some questions from the comment section. At Kueh, do you think secondary market can recover if HOC is discontinued? Right now, buying from developer is better due to HOC. What's your opinion on this? Yes. In fact, right, I think as we speak right now, secondary market is hot. Right now, it's hot. Especially when the HOC campaign, part of the HOC campaign is RBGT is also waived for secondary market. So because of that, a lot of people can sell a little bit lower because they don't have to pay the tax. So they somewhat discount for the potential buyers lah. But to me, with that logic, I think it's right. Because this is also a complaint like when the industry players, right, they all make complaint when the government announced this HOC thing. Hey, what about us, right? Subsale, what about us? Always help the developer only. But I agree. So my opinion on HOC is it will benefit the secondary market for sure, right? Mo Lambert, what's up, guy? For high-rise condo and the yard to a low unit is always dark and humid despite exhaust fan. What can owners do to prevent mold? Yard. Okay. Well, that's the unfortunate truth if your unit is at the lower floor lah. Especially if you're buying in locations where there are very high density of towers, for example, Mont Kiara, Bangsa South. The problem of the lower units is you have overshadowed. Then you have this problem of overlooking as well. To me, humidity, it's not controlled by building design. Only to a certain extent. Maybe if you go for a property that has lower density per floor, then you have more area for ventilation, then it might help. But as it's dark, then whatever, so you cannot really lah. So I think, so in the Makeover Guys, the company that I work in, it's pretty common now that we all will install dryer. So after a washing machine, now it's a dryer. You still remember those days, right? When TV was not a requirement, aircon was not a requirement. Now all this becomes a requirement already. So I think installing a dryer would make more sense in that, right? So I think that is a better solution instead of hoping the climate will change for you lah. Okay, thanks man. Ruby Ng can share some tips on where we can find creditable property info. There's a lot of people out there sharing but don't know whether they can be trusted or not. Well, unfortunately, that's the nature of the industry. Well, I can say it used to be, because last time this kind of real estate information, right, it's not commonly shared across dinner table. Even if it's commonly shared across dinner table, you will question, hey, who are you to advise me on property, right? So that's the whole reason why I started the channel, and that's also the whole reason why Property Guru wants to start this Ask Guru segment within the website, because people get misled. And the worst mistake is when you ask a person who have yet to buy a property teaching you how to be a property guru or how to make millions of property lah. So that's the worst. How do you get better advices? Watch my YouTube channel, right? Wow, this is shameless plug. So you can actually watch my YouTube channel, or you can just read more articles within the Ask Guru segment. So I think that's the two place that you can go to right now. Lee Kai Chi, walao, 23 years old, got 150,000 savings. Your life, my dream, bro. Correct, right? So now 23 years old, I think because of the internet now, you get to do business anywhere. You get to sell things, buy things, flip things, invest in whatever you want, right? Share, stock market, crypto, whatever lah. Pokemon cards also, I have a cousin that does really well in Pokemon cards. My brother is doing well in Yu-Gi-Oh cards. It's crazy now, right? Alternative investment is crazy. So instead of, so there are way more alternatives right now compared to real estate investment. And see, youngsters now, tokong, okay? Ellie Lim, which area do you recommend to invest? For investment-wise, there are two general questions that I will ask. Are you for capital appreciation or are you for cash flow? So the usual belief is that if I buy landed, the capital appreciation will be better. So for example, if I buy a 600,000 terrace house, 3-5 years, it can go 800, 900, right? For high rise, it's not that handsome, but for high rise, the rental, suddenly lost my thought. The rental can be higher, so the ROI makes more sense in that in the example. But there's this unspoken truth about this, is that you see a lot of new landed properties that are a little bit more on the outskirts, and because that property segment tends to be the nasi lemak property. All Malaysians love landed terrace house, individual title, right? So as long as it's that segment, it's a terrace house, I don't care where it is, I will buy. Unfortunately, that becomes a problem in the future because the distance to travel to the city center or your office sooner or later will become a burden. Then suddenly, like, I want to rent out this property, also cannot. And because no one wants to rent, there's no demand for space in that particular address that you bought, property price will drop as well. So there are auctions for terrace houses as well. So a safer bet if you are in a CBD area will be to go for a property that can both have capital appreciation and cash flow, and that will be high rise. So not I say one, if you look into NAPIC, right, the property data by the government, number one capital appreciation segment will be terrace houses for sure. Second, very close, high rise, right? So I would suggest that would be a better way. And if you want to look for high ROI, you go by job opportunities. And rental is a direct reflection of temporary job opportunities, which is temporary demand for space. So only places with a lot of offices, places with a lot of commercial centers, the residential area, the residential towers around those areas perform way better compared to all landed, right? Suddenly one high rise, the demand for those kind of properties are lesser. Okay, so that would be my tip for you. Next would be David Gunn. What's up, David? DIBS was replaced by progressive interest, yet there have been abandoned projects. Should we look for any new property near completion or developer release units to avoid this risk? What is your opinion? I think the rate for abandoned projects is not as common anymore after the establishment of HDA. I still remember when I was a kid, it was pretty common, right? The developer paid this main con, then the main con built halfway, then he jabut, right? He just left the project. So the developer needs to find another developer that is willing to take up everything, and only the buyers will get compensated or whatsoever, or the project can continue. If that didn't happen, the buyers who signed the SPA earlier will need to continue paying, and that is very, very painful, right? So the government took a decision and established this new act. So it's a law, Housing Development Act, and that protects home buyers. So how they protect is by SPA. So all SPA for new projects are all the same. Okay, so you don't have to worry about your Schedule H having different progressive billing amounts. No worries, all are covered, right? Then, in order to prevent developers from running away halfway, the government is setting up a joint account where all monies from the customers needs to go into this account first before those money can actually flow into the bank account of the developer. So there's this filtering system. That indirectly means the developers that's going to launch project now needs to have a deeper pocket. They need to have more money before they can actually launch a project. So that is somewhat protecting this stuff. And that's the difference between if you are buying a residential property or if you are buying a commercial property. If you're buying shop lots, warehouse, or you're buying land, right? Those are not governed under the HDA. So if those developers cabut halfway, government cannot help you. But if you're buying a HDA compliant project, yes, the government will step in. Yeah, so I don't think it's because of the IBS that the rate of running away becomes higher. I don't think there's any correlation at all. Right. Plus the rate is also, abandoning is also very, very little already lah. Next question. Ren Yi, what's up, man? Hi to see. Hey Sean, how do you evaluate whether a new super high density project like M Vertica will affect the appreciation and rental rates of existing and new properties surrounding it? High supply normally means high abundance of choice and more competition, right? Yes. Yes and no, Ren Yi. I always answer, right? So I think M Vertica is around, yeah, okay, let me get my coordinates right first. Okay, so think about it. If you are a developer today, I choose to build a new project, right? I must have somewhat a better confidence or belief in my own product before I launch. And with their own calculation, they managed to launch such a high density. Of course, they will be launching it with the intention of selling it out. Okay. But to me, again, just like the previous question, how do you then determine the demand and supply? Right? There's so many new properties, right? But what about the supply? Is there an actual demand for that particular location? And the rate to look for will be the rental rate. So the rental rate will be the equilibrium between the supply and demand for space. And I will do my purchase and I will do my calculation based on rental rates. Again, there's only two data that I look into really quickly, right? Rental rates will be one of the most transparent, most accurate data point to look at. The second one will be transacted price, actual transacted price, and you can actually look at it from the website as well. Okay? Cool. So, Ray Lee, what's up, man? Hi, Sean. Since buying for own stay is always a cost, do you have a financial rule of thumb to determine when will be a good time to stop renting and start owning a home? Wow. Okay, let me answer. Let me break down the answer first. First of all, for my own, I have a few investments and I'm still staying with my family, so I don't have to pay rental. Yes. But a rule where I just broke, which is I recently got a property which I documented the whole process on my YouTube channel. It's when I want to get a kid. I want to start a family, and then privacy matters, right? When you get involved in the teaching between your elder generation and your kid, right? You know that abundance of love for the baby, right? Suddenly all things don't matter, all disciplines don't matter. Then with this kind of situation, right? So it's that point where financially it's okay, I can afford, and the time is right. Because if not, why buy a property when you barely stay in it? So that's the thing. But a rule of me buying a house, ultimately, no matter how much I love it, the rental needs to cover 70 to 80% of the installment. Right? Again, if I were to buy a home for own stay, a rule that I follow is the rental needs to cover at least 70 to 80% of the installment. Why? Let's say 5 years down the road, I make more money. Okay, let's say right? Let's say PropertyGuru sponsor me more or whatsoever. I make more money. I want to upgrade. Then this property, 5 years down the road, the rental can somewhat reach an equilibrium with my installment amount, and it's very easy to let go. And the rental again shows the demand for that particular location. I move out, then this space can rent out, then that becomes an investment property already. And I think this could be a rule for those who are stuck in between all the time, own stay or investment, own stay or investment. Always these two. And if they want a property that is in between, that would be my rule to recommend as well. Okay, but unfortunately, this rule only applies generally to high-rise. If you want to buy a landed, suddenly it becomes an expense, like you say. So the next one would be from Jason Chong. For investment purpose, should we acquire leftover units from developers to negotiate deals instead of going for new ones? This will also help to clear the overhang, right? Is there any way for general public to find out if there is any leftover units? Okay, for those who don't understand, leftover units means when a developer decides to launch a particular property, and if there's any form of SPA signed, whether or not the developers fully sell the property, then they will need to construct everything. And when they construct everything, let's say 4 years down the road, there will be these leftover units. And these leftover units, in the eye of the industry, they call it overhang units, not hangover, overhang units. Okay? So overhang units becomes a very bad stigma to any property developers. So there's this tendency that developers want to let them go. And from a technical point of view, developers will want to let them go because all these units are fully paid for. So if they can sell any of these units, if they can clear all those units, it's a direct reflection or in their P&L. Right? So to me, it depends on whether the developer is desperate or not. If they have a lot of money, if they have a lot of cash, they have no rush in selling one, right? But if you are in a smaller developer, a more boutique developer, they are willing to negotiate further with you. There's no guarantee. But what a lot of people are doing right now is they go in bulk, right? So they can negotiate a deal. Let's say I left over 50 units, then somebody can just swap and take 50 units all the way. There will be a significant discount. But then to access to these kind of deals, you need to know people, you need to have connections, you can pay money to join them. Yeah, there are a lot of ways lah. So those are the more common ones to settle the overhang units lah in the industry. But is there a significant saving? Not really. But the savings here can also be argued in the form of interest paid. Now I buy the unit, instantly I get the unit within like 5 to 6 months until everything is cleared, instead of waiting for 3 to 4 years. Plus, the benefit of doing that is you are being in the category of sub-sale and new property. So the problem of you buying sub-sale is you don't get all the perks from the developer. You don't have this defect liability period. You don't have all this, because when you buy from an owner, don't have this kind of thing. But if you buy from a developer on a ready built unit, then you get to enjoy all these marketing packages on a ready built unit. And you get to determine who is your neighbor. You get to determine what view you will get. For sure, no need to guess. If you are buying a new property that's yet to build, then sorry, you need to really be very good in what you're doing, and you've got to be very good in your research work, right? So I have also done an episode on this in the YouTube channel. You guys can go check it out, where you can buy unsold units from property. But how to find out from them? There's no marketplace for it. It's either you see their ads on social media, or you see their ads on portals such as PropertyGuru for their leftover units. Or you can just directly know people. So like when you visit your friends, neighbors, you got units or whatsoever. There's no actual marketplace for unsold unit category, unfortunately. Right? Thank you for asking. And for those who have just joined us, this is an Ask Guru segment where I answer questions directly from the comment section, or I answer questions from the website. And if you have any questions, you can actually ask me directly via my channel, or you can just go to PropertyGuru website. There's a tab where you can just go into Ask Guru segment and you can post your question there. So not necessarily it will be answered by me, but there will be a group of experts that can help you with your queries, right? The worst is you don't know who answer chin chai for you, right? Next, wait, drink water first. Okay, Chan CH, what's up, Chan? Hi, Sean, what do you think of the inflation that will affect the ongoing price? Material costs and labor costs has increased a lot compared to last year. Do you see probability of developer go bankrupt or run away? So, okay, to be very, very honest, I have came across a lot of renegotiation of contracts. It means that main cons who have signed contracts for developments to build their project, right, they are going to renegotiate again, because for those who are dealing with imports for steel, either for furniture or raw materials, right, no one is able to provide an accurate price of steel right now. That is due to several reasons. Because of the virus, production gone really, really low, and the demand suddenly, when we open suddenly like now, everything shoots up. Is it going to be long term? Not really, but projects need to be completed within 4 years' time. That's the problem. To me, I don't think developers are going to go bankrupt. Most likely, this project is just going to be for charity. It means it's going to be zero profit, because it's going to eat up in their profit margin. And the price of running away is just too high, especially if you're a public listed company, right? Imagine, Sean becomes a developer and I build, then suddenly, oh, material price too high, I cannot build, then I just, so forever, right? It's like a game over plan for me. But this kind of problem is going to be a very temporary problem for the construction industry, I hope, right? Yeah, I don't think so. So if you sign the SPA already under the HDA Act, I think it's going to be, it's not your problem lah. It's going to be developers and contractors' problem. But if you have bought a property, so I have a friend who builds landed properties in outskirts of Johor. It sold out, right? They sold out their property, and suddenly, because of the cost of metals shoot up so high, door prices, the door frame, right, increased 6 times, 4 to 6 times the price. And the quotation for their price are like weekly basis. It's insane. Suddenly, a landed house, you know, like a lot of doors on ma. The entire project margin, 0. It's very scary, right? It's very, very scary. But in order to protect their name, that's the rule of the game. So if you do business, you need to incorporate risk factors, right? And for experienced developers, I think they have incorporated really, really well. Okay, so what I am more interested in, if this kind of trends picking up, it's going to be more difficult for new projects to take off, right? And with less new projects taking off, it means restriction in supply. Restriction in supplies as the demand is constant or going higher because everybody is trying to make more money because in cost of things are going up, right? The worst thing you can have right now is to have your wealth kept in cash form. Report says 100 ringgit stored today, next year will worth only 96. But that's a very safe number, right? So people are trying to beat inflation, and what investment tools are the best in hedging against inflation? Properties. So there's this school of thought that we have in the office. This is not an official statement, but this is a very personal statement. We are going to see a bull run, right, for the next 3 to 4 years because of this. Supply in the market is going to be very, very little because of these kind of factors. Prices are just too high. Not only material price, labor costs, professional costs, everything is going to be very, very expensive. So if I were to buy properties today, new projects are going to be incorporating all those risk factors again before they come into the market at a higher price. So if I were to buy something right now, most likely we are going to be... So personally, I'm gearing up a lot on properties. This is not an official statement, so don't follow. Do your own research, as I always say in the channel. Take calculated risks, always choose to be informed. Okay? Going back to the comments, Jordan Fan, sorry if I took your name wrong, right? Hi Sean, in your opinion, which areas would be good to invest in rental properties around the 500,000 range? And in terms of ease of renting out, is there any particular setup that is best? For example, studio, 2-bedroom, 1 bath. Particular areas is usually those, I think at this range, right, 500,000, I think within Cheras area, you have a very, very good diversity in choices. Because, okay, 500,000 studio, a better way to search, right, is to type in this price range or budget, then you put into PropertyGuru portal and you can see all the available one already. And if the best thing is that at this portal you can also choose buy or rent. At the same time, you know roughly it's 500,000. 500,000, your money installment now at 3%, 35 years is around 1,300. So if the rental is around 1,300 to 1,400, no need to think, right? Can straight away go ahead already. Okay, and that would be a better way. And with the ease of my YouTube videos, you can go and see the actual units if I reviewed before. If not, you can always look into the portals, go Google Map or whatsoever, do your own research. Okay, but again, do think about studio, 2 bedrooms. This is a very interesting question because that greatly affects rental price, right? And if you can, some studio units, we have done studies before where 1 bedrooms tend to perform better than studio units because I also don't know why, because of the appetite. So this is really strictly driven by data that we have and the makeover guys as we furnish properties and we rented them out. So all these data are live data. So do also pay attention to the layout. Sometimes the toilet is in a position where after I set up rooms, it can still be shared, right? And if the 1 bedroom one or 1+1, that +1, right, is so small that it's against the law to actually put partition, pointless. So why have another? No one will actually pay more for a storeroom, right? So let's put it that way. Especially for rooms that are so small, got no windows, habis. So it really depends on the layout itself, but that is a more finer things to look at. Again, the big things you just put in your budget and you let the portal tells you where to go. Then look for 20 properties. As I always say, 20 different properties. You do your research, new, old, landed, high-rise, studio, 2 bedrooms. Because further away from the CBD, this budget can have 2 bedrooms. But closer to the CBD, you can only have a 450 square feet one, if you are lucky. So it depends on what you want, but let the research work guide you. Let numbers do the talking. Okay? I think we can only go for maybe 2 or 3 more. Again, for those who are watching, thank you very much for your time in watching. I really appreciate all of you coming in, and this is a collaboration with PropertyGuru for their AskGuru segment, because I couldn't answer all the emails that you guys send me on my YouTube channel. Therefore, this is happening right now. Again, thank you very much for doing all this, and we will just go on to the question. Azeline Marie's, I don't even want to try, right? So, is this the question? Once notified, is there a time frame to settle MOT and MOC for strata title? Okay, this is a rather technical question. So for old properties, you have certain properties where strata title have not been issued right now, right? So the future, what the government is trying to do is, when you get the keys, immediately it comes with your strata title being issued, and then you need to pay for MOT. So that would be the most ideal situation, but I think in Malaysia is working towards that. How do you get notified? By your lawyers. So how I got notified is a phone call. Hey Sean, your congratulations. Why? Your strata title has been issued. Because there's this trend also, when the property has been gazetted, the strata title has been issued, there's an appreciation in price, right? So that's also good news, but then you need to pay the lawyer lah. Okay, so I think that's all for today. Sorry for those who just popped up their questions in the comment section. Again, you can always ask, you can always head on to AskGuru in the website, or you can just send me an email via my YouTube channel. And with that, I think that's all for today. Again, thank you very much for making this happen for me. Nothing else, right? So I think that's all lah. Good night. See you guys. Ciao.